Hello, welcome to Materials and Me. Materials being the study of stuff and me being Ire. I feel like most times I rush it and I'm like, Ire. And I'm like, no, my name is Ire. Ireolua, the goodness of God. Get you a nice name. Sorry, that's not what I came for. I usually don't ask you guys to comment anything, and I'm like, that's not good. So, yeah, let me know if you've had a good week or a good month and how you're feeling. Yeah, what have you been up to? What's the most exciting thing you've done this month? What have I been up to? Well, if you have me on LinkedIn or if you see my recent LinkedIn post, what I've been up to is anything and everything. So I'll start from my first sort of big yes, and it was in October. So picture this, I've finished my Master of Science in Advanced Material Science and Engineering. Claps, claps, claps. Anyways, and then I get a text from my cousin. Thank God for moms, because when my cousin like mentioned to my mom that, oh yeah, 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 she mentioned it to me, but I said no. My mom was like, why? Like, you're literally a materials girl. Like, why would you not go to like a plastics trade show? And I was like, oh, like, I've never done this before. That was giving excuses, and she was just like, come on. What do you mean? Like, this would be great. Not just because it's like a work opportunity. Like, you could get paid kind of a thing. Not just that, even just learning something new, exposure, seeing the companies out there. Like, what if that's where I land a job? I didn't. Spoiler alert. But she was right. Anyways, long story short, I say yes, we go. It's amazing. It's it's so big, first and foremost, so that was daunting because I don't know if any of you know what the NEC is in Birmingham. It's like just sort of like an event center space thingy. But K show happens at a place called Messe Dusseldorf in Germany. The scale of this compared to the NEC in Birmingham, no offense to Brummy people, but this K show thing, I want to say it's like four times the size or five times the size of the NEC, the Messe Dusseldorf. It's huge. There's so many companies there, so many companies exhibiting. There's just so much going on. And even though we were there for like 5, 6 days, we couldn't cover everything. That's the scale that I'm talking about. But it was an amazing opportunity, just learning more about like, the plastics recycling like value chain, from the people sorting out machinery to thinking about like regulation. Like, there's just so many moving parts in every industry, but more specifically obviously this field of like polymers. And I think every time we think of like sustainable products or sustainable innovative ideas, like we always just think, at least in school, it's easy to think, oh, this is good for the environment, this is how it works, ta-da, like here we are, let's sell it, let's bring it forward. And it's like there's so much more to consider. Even something like being a Nigerian company, there was like one or two people that like we spoke to, that even just saying we were from Nigeria, I was like, there's already like skepticism. And so I never even really considered too much like what that does for international trade, and not even just the country your business is in, but even just the sort of equipment you're using. So apart from obviously what country you are from or like working out of, another question that somebody was a bit snobby about was like, what does your sorting line look like for, when you're sorting, the bottles and like cleaning it and turning it into flakes? And we said the equipment we use, and the guy was like, not heard of that one. And because there was, I forget I think it starts with an M. There was a particular one that's like really popular that people usually use, and that's not the one we mentioned. And I was like, what's that? Or what country is that one from? Yeah, what country is that one from? And then when we said the country, I was like, okay, like potentially that could be okay, but I'm digressing. It was just interesting to see the different biases that exist, but more so the different bottlenecks. So I mentioned regulation earlier. People were also just more comfortable knowing that somebody else has tried and tested you. So it's not enough to be like, oh, we meet this regulatory standard, or our flakes are past the food grade level to be used, for like food packaging and stuff. It's like it's not enough. If you're pitching to, oh, sub-Saharan Africa, but we want to partner with you in Europe, it's like, can you guys actually do that? And it's like, if we say somebody else in Europe has actually trusted us, then you're more likely to be like, okay, fine, let's do business. And I can't like, this might sound obvious to everybody watching me right now, but genuinely, these are aspects of business that I just actually just never considered. And I think it was good for me. And engaging in these conversations, I think it was very valuable. I'm already sort of used to this, but the other thing I must say was there was a sort of like a women's talk, like women's in plastics talk. And there's a lady who at the time she was the director general of the ICP. I forget the acronym, but she's from Colombia and she was amazing. Obviously, there were many amazing women there, just in case any of them see this. But this particular lady, like what she said resonated with me, of just owning whatever space or room you find yourself in and not underestimating the quality that you bring. It sounds so basic because I've heard it so many times, but that day it just clicked. And I was like, don't apologize. You're here, make it count. And also, like most fields that at least I find interesting, they are male dominated. I think they said women in the plastics industry, they can't be up to 30%. I don't think so. But yeah, so they were talking about, being in a male dominated field and all that, and like just how they should have each other's backs or whatever. But it was cool. I met a few cool people there as well. Shout out to Bolu. And she's Nigerian, but like obviously not someone I knew before this. And like she just knew so much about like waste. She was like she loves trash. But like I think a lot of the times we're so focused on like let's make this new thing from this or because of this problem that we don't always consider, okay, but we have an existing item in our hands. What can we do with this again? How can we extend the life of this as opposed to always wanting something new? So I thought that her perspective was also interesting. I never considered chemical manufacturing, or sorry, chemical recycling rather. The possibilities there, crazy. Even some of the stuff being done with rubber as well. But I don't know, it was just if you're someone like me who you ask way too many questions and you're just also just curious, I think go to a trade show, any trade show. Just go to a trade show and just go around the stands talking to people, or if I just to look, if you're just looking and like reading the stuff at the stands, I think you'll go home happy, honestly. The other yes I I gave after October was in trying to think of what I want to share because I've also been no, because at the end of the day I don't know, I don't want to overshare because like I don't know you people. I don't know you people, so I can't be giving you all my life's info. The second big yes I gave was signing up for another trade show, but by myself, as opposed to like with a company. And that was scary. Like I thought going to Kisho was scary, but going to the Packaging Innovations and Impact conference, trade show, UK thing, going to that was definitely scarier. But it was good because I watched a reel, sorry, or a YouTube shorts, by this girl called V. She's a PhD in like computational bio something, and she went to a trade show and she gave some tips on like what to do before. I was a thing of just making the most of my days because it was only just going to be one day, as opposed to when I went to K show, I was there for like 5 days. So it's like, oh, we will get it tomorrow or we can do this on this day and all that. But it was like, no, 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 I have to make this day count. So planning was very important. So shout out to V. Your video was very helpful. First off the bat, I was really nervous, but it was so nice because the first person I spoke to was this guy from Spain called Ernest. I think his name was Ernest. But he was really sweet. He gave me like a little souvenir. They were making like ceramic products. Even though that's not even what I was there for. But I wasn't there for that. But like I was just like, oh, it was really nice. And then like I said like something to him in Spanish and he was like, oh, like okay. I think that made him smile. But yeah, no, so that was a really good first icebreaker to just like talk to someone that was really friendly. And he also gave me something to go home with, which is always nice. And hey, that's actually a good thing for trade shows. You will always go home with souvenirs, bags, pens, sometimes bottles of water. Some stands, if they're really rich, they have like food there as well, like snacks. But that's an aside. That's not why I went there. I have food at home, I promise. There was this like museum of failure, which was also cool because it was talking about different businesses and like how they messed up. But the other talk I went to that was really good. What was just really good about this show or conference that I went to was just like thinking about again outside the classroom stuff. So when thinking about a product, like I just or an item or a material, I never really considered how yes, you think of the functionality of something or a device, but in terms of packaging, at least, these people were just thinking of so much, not just the design or the materials being used or how sustainable the stuff was or life cycle analysis and all that stuff. Even just thinking about like how the consumer will interact with it and how the consumer will deal with the product after it's been used. And so how yes, regulation is important for, having products actually recycled, incentivizing people and all that, but at the end of the day, you want to create a product that doesn't make it hard for the consumer. And just the fact that like just because something is recyclable doesn't mean it will be recycled. And just again that whole thing of there's so many moving parts that we don't consider or that I hadn't considered as someone in the classroom as opposed to the marketplace. And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned from both trade shows was just money makes the world go round and people. Money and people. And I think those are the two factors I didn't really consider with most of the research I've done. Yes, we think of relevance, but you don't really have to explain too much what this means for like the everyday person. We think in a very, or I usually talk about context and like the very large scale. This helped me think more like, okay, no, but what does this mean for this person? And what does this mean for this stage? And what does this mean for this stage? And you also just meet cool people at this thing. So I mentioned the people that I came in contact with. People can be very nice and encouraging, especially when they know that like you're young and yeah, trying to enter the workforce. In fact, one guy actually, he still like, gave me his contacts or whatever, but he was like, oh, he thinks this company and this company and this company would be worth reaching out to for the things I said I was interested in, which was even just nice because it was like, oh, like he's not so like, oh, you don't want to buy anything, buy. Because obviously people come to trade shows to make money. Yes, number three, that was really like stepping out of my comfort zone was volunteering. Children are scary. Forget everything I've said. Oh, trade show, business. Oh, you don't have experience with X, Y, Z. Forget that. Kids, it's different. Because it's one thing to make a video and say X, Y, Z and be able to edit it, add where I've made a mistake and all that. But to be live and direct explaining something to somebody, but I would do it again. What am I saying? I would. I am doing it again. The scariest one I had was when like you're explaining a scientific concept to a parent that is also a scientist. Sorry, to a child with a parent that's a scientist. So there was one that like as I was saying it, the lady then like finished my sentence or she added to what I had said. And then I was like, wait, no, she knows what I'm saying. Like I can't mess up. I can't just say something surface level and like hope the kid doesn't notice. And because you get tired, man, or you don't give the details. So you're just like, yeah, this is a summary. And then the second day I was volunteering at that. Oh, I should say what it is. Maybe advertise for them. It was called the Festival of Tomorrow. As a Nigerian, at least, I'd never. Let me not say bad things on Nigeria. There's one minister that said we should not be saying negative things about our country publicly. So if he sees this, I beg, I'm sorry. But I don't know that these things occur, or I'd never gone to anything like this growing up. Like my mom took us to the Science Museum in South Ken one time, but apart from that, and mommy, I'm not trying to out you. You really did your best as a parent. But yeah, we never been to anything like this before of just engaging with science outside the classroom. There was one guy that like he couldn't get enough of the microscope we had. There was some kid that already like knew what everything was. So I was like, there's I don't have anything to explain to you. We were looking at beads that sort of changed color like when exposed to like UV light. He knew about that as well. He knew about like polarized lights. I was just like, how old are you? And he was like 8. I was like, I'm so stupid. Oh my gosh. Interacting with children actually makes you realize that like you need to stay on it. I don't know, just keep learning, keep revising, because the next generation, they are smarter. And so if you don't want to be out of a job by 40, keep improving yourself as an individual, or don't upset your rich parents if you have rich parents. Like those are your only two options. But yeah, no, that was really fun. And I also got to see my friend. I also got to see my friend. Shout out to Sophia, because she also volunteers with Discover Materials. So it was nice to see her. But yeah, what's the moral of the story? Try new things, even when you're scared, even when you think, even when you're uncomfortable, or even when you think you're not qualified. Just try. Like as long as somebody has given you an opportunity and they have seen value that you can add to something, go for it. Like I don't feel the need. I don't see why you should rob yourself of something good, something potentially good. If it's bad, you know it was bad and you won't do it again. But if you go and it's good, if you never went, you would have never known it would be good. I hate to be that cliche person, but somebody said you miss 100% of the shots you don't shoot or the shots you don't take. And in the same vein, if you're still job searching like me, keep going, don't give up. There's a place for you. As long as those kids I met at the science fair are still in primary school, there's a job for you. Do cold applications as well, like reach out to like strangers and be like, oh, will you hire me? Or like, can I intern with you or shadow you or whatever? I'm saying this because I recently tried it out. I don't know if it'll work. Pray for me that they respond on Monday. There was a particular day I wasn't in the mood and I told my brother that like I just want to stop applying. Okay, I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. And he said, well, that's dumb. I was like, that's dumb. Like, someone's literally going to take your job if you do that. And I was like, okay, fine. So it's not the cushiest of encouragements, but it's real. It's real and it's true. So if you stop, you'll never get one. Whereas if you continue, someday, one day, you get a job. Yeah, stay hopeful. I've been talking a lot. So if you've made this to this point in the video, like I always say, good on you, good on me. Let's keep doing this. And yeah, bye. The most exciting thing I did was I finished an article that I was writing. And why it's exciting is because you know when you have that thing that it wasn't necessarily like a deadline I had been given, but you have it in your mind to do something and you've set an internal deadline for yourself, and it just feels like you put it on or put it off forever. Anyways, I finally did it and I felt like I had conquered the world.